Level 1, $0 to $5,000 in debt. $3,200. That is what you owe. Not to a bank. 2, 3 credit cards you opened in the same month. Because the sign-up bonuses felt like a strategy. It is 11:52 p.m. and you are transferring $47 from checking to savings, then moving it back because rent is in 6 days and you are doing the math again, even though you already did it at 9 p.m. And the answer was the same. The debt at this level is not a crisis. That is what makes it dangerous. $3,200 does not feel like a number that requires a plan. It feels like a number that will sort itself out. You make the minimum payment, which is $64 this month. The card charges 24.99% APR. On a $3,200 balance, paying only the minimum, you will still be paying this debt in 4 years, and you will have paid $1,890 in interest on top of the original amount. The card company does not tell you this on the statement. It is disclosed in the agreement you did not read. You notice something. The minimum payment is designed to feel manageable. It is not designed to eliminate the balance. It is designed to extend it. The longer the balance exists, the more interest accrues. The more interest accrues, the more the company earns. $64 a month feels like progress. $64 a month at 24.99% is almost entirely interest. The principal drops by $11. You buy the store brand, you split the streaming password, you tell yourself this is temporary. That word does its work quietly. The first rule? Small debt is not small. It is the same mechanism as large debt, running at the same rate, just on a number that does not feel urgent enough to fix. Level 2, $5,000 to $20,000 in debt. The number grew. Not because you were careless, because the transmission failed in October and the deductible was $800 and the card was already there. Because the dental work was $1,400 and insurance covered $600. Because emergencies do not ask whether you have savings first. It is a Tuesday morning. You open the app and add the balances. Card 1, $6,200. Card 2, $4,800. Personal loan from last year, $3,100. The total is $14,100. You stare at it for longer than you planned. Then you close the app. Then you open it again. You discover something at this level. The interest is no longer a footnote. On $14,100 across 3 accounts at an average rate of 22%, you are paying approximately $258 every month in interest alone. That is before touching the principal. $258 is your grocery budget. The debt is now eating a line item that used to feed you. A debt consolidation offer arrives. 1 loan, 14.5% APR, 48 months, 1 payment. The math is better than the cards. You read the fine print. There is an origination fee of 3%, which is $423 added to the balance at closing. You take it anyway because the monthly payment drops by $90, and $90 is what you need right now to breathe. You stop talking about money at dinner, not because there is nothing to say, because saying it out loud makes it more real than you are ready for it to be. The second rule, consolidation is not elimination. It is reorganization. The debt moves. It does not disappear. Level 3, $20,000 to $50,000 in debt. This is where the number becomes a presence, not a problem you are solving, a condition you are living inside. You graduated 26 months ago. The student loan balance was $38,000 at graduation. It is $36,400 today. 2 years of payments and the balance dropped by $1,600 because the interest rate is 6.8% and your income-driven repayment plan keeps the monthly payment low enough to be affordable and high enough to feel like progress and structured in a way that produces almost none. You do the math one Sunday afternoon, the real math, the full 2 5-year math. You close the laptop without saving the file. At this level, you understand something the brochures at the financial aid office did not explain. The interest on a federal student loan at 6.8% on a $38,000 balance is $2,584 per year. If your annual payment is $3,000, only $416 reduces the principal. The rest services the cost of borrowing. You are renting money you already spent on a degree you already have. Your credit score is 664. Not bad, not good. Good enough to rent an apartment with a cosigner. Not good enough to get a mortgage rate that makes the math work. The debt-to-income ratio sits at 38%, and lenders want it below 36% before they start offering the rates that appear in advertisements. You take on an extra shift, not to get ahead, to stay even. The third rule, at this level, debt is not a number. It is a speed limit on every other financial decision you try to make. Level 4. $50,000 to $100,000 in debt. The debt at this level has a different weight, not heavier, more distributed. It is no longer one problem. It is several systems running simultaneously, each with its own rate, its own servicer, its own minimum, its own logic. Student loans, $41,000 federal, $18,000 private. The federal loans are on an income-driven plan. The private loans are not. The private servicer does not offer income-driven repayment. The private servicer offers forbearance, which pauses payments and adds the accruing interest to the principal, which means the balance grows while you are not paying it, which is not a solution. It is a delay with a price tag attached. The car loan is $14,200 at 7.4%. The credit card carries $6,800 at 21.99%. Total, $80,000. You track it on a spreadsheet with 4 tabs. At this income level, $68,000 a year, the debt-to-income ratio makes a conventional mortgage structurally unreachable until something changes. The bank is not refusing you. The algorithm is, your DTI is 44%. Lenders want 43% or below for a qualified mortgage. You are 1% outside the threshold, and that 1% costs you the rate, and in some cases the approval entirely. You discover something about the private loan. There is no federal protection here, no forgiveness pathway, no income-driven option. The private lender is a creditor, not a partner. If you miss 3 payments, the loan goes to collections, and the credit score drops 80 to 100 points overnight, and the already closed doors close harder. You refinance the credit card onto a balance transfer at 0% for 18 months. You set a calendar reminder for month 17. The 4th rule: when debt reaches this level, the order in which you pay it matters more than how much you pay. Wrong order, same money, worse outcome. Level 5, $100,000 and above in debt. The language changes at this level. You do not say you are in debt. You say you are highly leveraged. The words mean the same thing. One of them comes with a spreadsheet and a strategy. The other comes with a minimum payment and a due date. The student loan balance is $127,000. This is not unusual for a professional degree. Law, medicine, dentistry, graduate business, the debt that produces the credential that produces the income that is supposed to service the debt. The model works if the income arrives on schedule and at the projected level. It does not always arrive on schedule. It does not always arrive at the projected level. At $127,000 at 7.05% average rate, the interest accruing annually is $8,954. If you are on an income-driven plan and your required payment is $600 a month, $7,200 annually, the balance grows by $1,754 this year, even though you made every payment on time. This is called negative amortization. The loan is growing while you pay it. The system is designed this way not to trap you, but because the math of income-driven repayment, set against interest rates calibrated for a different purpose, produces this outcome as a structural consequence. You apply for public service loan forgiveness. The program promises forgiveness after 120 qualifying payments. You work for a nonprofit, you submit the paperwork. The first employment certification comes back with an error you did not make. You resubmit. The processing time is 90 days. You stop checking the balance every month, not because it stopped mattering, because the number changes too slowly to watch without it costing you something you cannot name. The 5th rule: at this level, the debt is no longer a mistake you made. It is a system you are inside. And systems require strategy, not shame. Level 6, debt-free. The last payment clears on a Wednesday, not a Friday, not a meaningful date. A Wednesday in the middle of a month that does not feel different from any other month, except that the $840 that used to leave your account for loan servicers does not leave anymore. You check the balance. It reads 0. You check it again. The credit score moves, not dramatically, not immediately. But over the following 6 months, it climbs from 701 to 748 because the utilization ratio dropped and the debt-to-income ratio restructured, and the algorithm registered that you are now a different kind of borrower than you were. Lenders who would have offered you 7.1% on a mortgage last year are offering 6.3% today. On a $300,000 loan over 30 years, that difference is $48,000. Nobody sends you a check. It simply costs you less. You realize something about the years inside the debt. Every major decision ran through the same filter first. Can we afford this, given the loans? Every conversation about the future had a number sitting in the corner of it that nobody mentioned, Because mentioning it made it heavier. Every raise was partially absorbed before it landed. That filter is gone now. The decisions are still hard. The money is still finite. But the weight that the debt added to every calculation is no longer there, and its absence is louder than its presence ever was. You do not celebrate. You open a brokerage account and set up an automatic transfer for $840 a month, the exact amount you used to send to the servicer. The money was already gone from your budget. You just changed where it goes. The sixth rule: debt-free is not the destination. It is the starting line you should have been standing at years ago. The machine was always waiting. You just had to pay to get to the entrance. Somewhere right now, someone is adding up balances on their phone at 11:52 p.m. Card 1, Card 2, the loan from last year. The total appears. They stare at it. They close the app. They open it again. They think the problem is the number. The problem is not the number. The number is just what the machine prints on the receipt. Every level of debt is the same mechanism, running at the same rate on a different principle. What changes at each level is not the system. It is how deep inside it you are standing when you finally decide to look up. The debt does not care. It accrues overnight. It accrues on weekends. It accrues while you sleep, and while you work, and while you tell yourself it will sort itself out. The machine does not wait. It never did.